All right, so I've spent the last 7 to 10 days trying to outline a real estate investing program that A, would be impactful and help a lot of people, but B, and it may be equally important, something that I would be proud to put my name on. In order to do this, I looked at a lot of stuff online. I sat back and really took note of how we started 15 or 16 years ago. And I've come up with 4 steps. And I want to share this with you now so you can give me your feedback. Watch this video, look at the 4 steps, look at how they relate, and tell me if you think I'm missing anything. Tell me if you think the order's wrong. Tell me if I'm just an idiot and I should start over from scratch. But in the end, I think these 4 steps would help somebody just starting out. So let me go through them. And again, please, please, please give me your feedback. So number 1. So first, I think you need to learn your market. Now, when I looked at a lot of stuff online, this was a step that it seemed everybody missed. It just assumed that you knew what was going on or you had some kind of inside track, at least that's what it felt like. Everybody wanted to jump into the numbers. And that's just not what we're going to do. Right? When I chose Fresno 15 years ago, I knew no one. I had never been to Fresno. And maybe a lot of you are looking at markets that aren't in your backyard. So how can you make an investment in some place you've never been? I believe you need to learn the market. I believe you need to get a base understanding so that when you're talking to someone, you come from a level of understanding. You can also call BS when somebody tells you something that you know or at least suspect not to be true, or maybe a partial truth. This is about getting your radar set up so that you can get in and really understand what's going on. If you don't understand and learn your market, at least at a base level, you're too dependent on others. And that's a risky position to be in my perspective. So we're going to spend a lot of time up here, up front. I'm going to challenge myself to just pretend like I was new, look at a market, break it down, how I would do that. I'm going to take various views on this. I'm going to do it with talking about it here in paper, do it online, take screenshots. I'm just going to show you how I dove in and started to learn a market. By doing that, I'm also going to give you the tools to say, okay, now that I've got this, how do I expand that? Because trust me, Fresno is a huge market, right? Fresno City is over 500,000 people. Fresno County is 1 million people. You can't learn that part-time, at least not quickly. But I'm going to show you how I did it, how I learned very tight focus, and then how I expanded. I think that's going to be vitally important because for whatever reason, people miss that. Step 2, we're going to treat uniquely as well. We're going to treat it in its own little box. I'm not really sure what to call it, because for space, call it ROI, call it return, call it yield. It's basically the return of your investment. I think it's important to understand the math, the logic behind a formula, right? We're not going to do, this is not tied to anything. This is a separate and unique step. I'm going to break down exactly how I do it. Again, we're going to use paper. We're going to use the Excel. We're going to use PowerPoint. We're just going to break it down so everybody can see how the variables tie together. Right? People have to be comfortable with the math. The math is not hard, but I could be here and just talk and I could lose you. So we're gonna crawl, walk, run through the math. Once we've got the math done, then we're gonna make the connection between the math and the market. This connection is important because it's this connection that allows you to understand a bad deal. It allows you to understand an average deal. It lets you understand a good deal, and most importantly, when you do this right, you can identify a great deal and take action immediately. So again, we're going to learn the market by itself. I'm going to give you some tools, some tricks, the work that I did. In my book, One Rental at a Time, I call it the homework. I'm going to show you how I broke down the homework in my market. And then it's going to be that exercise that you do in yours and how you extend to others. Then we're going to show you the math and get you comfortable with the math before we do anything else. And then we're going to take the math and tie it to your market. These 2 steps are home runs in my opinion. These 2 steps take you, leaps and bounds forward. But that's not enough for me. That would just not be complete in my opinion. So there's a 3rd step. Step number 3 is your team. Right? I'm talking to full-time employees who are busy, traveling all over the world, crazy family lives. You're going to need a team. You're going to need to understand who's needed, how to interview them, how to talk to them, how to fire them, right? We talked about in our book how we fired the first 4 or 5 property managers. It's not fun, but it had to be done. So we're going to talk about the team, right, and how all this ties together. We're going to talk about how to leverage the team through the first 2 steps, learning the market and the return on investment. Again, bad from good, good from great, right? And that's not it, right? But the team's important, so we're going to talk about the process and who's missing and all of that. There's a 4th step. It's called your whys or your goals. The whys are important because real estate investing is going to test you. You're going to have bad days, I promise. You're going to have deals blow up. You're going to have tenants do bad things. You're going to have team members do things that you wish they wouldn't have done. And unless you have a strong why that you can hold on to, I'm afraid you won't be able to get through the bad days. Because again, real estate will test you. You will have bad days. So unless this is really strong, we're not going to get there. The other thing is I wanted to make this step number 4 instead of step number 1. I saw a lot of courses start here. And that makes sense, right? Logically. You got to have your why first. However, I know personally that if you talk to me about my why first before you had me do any work, I might have bought the course, but I wouldn't do anything with it. And for me, that would be a huge disappointment. If I'm going to help 1,000 people get started, I got to give them real work, get their hands dirty, and let them change what they understand about their market and how to run the numbers. So that's why we're starting here. I believe the why is critical. I'm not leaving it for last because it's not important. It is critical because you have to hold on to this for 10 years. But if I started here, I wouldn't be doing myself a service, and I don't think I'd be doing you a service. So we're going to make it the last step here. But also we're going to have goals. We're going to have goals that are short-term, right? Next 90 days, first year. We're going to have goals that are long-term. We're going to have goals that are tied to the team. Because I promise you, you don't have your team involved. You're going to have networking goals and all of that, right? So it's this connection of these 4 steps. Learn the market, return, ROI, dollars, whatever you want to call it, the team, and then why are your goals that will make up the meat of this course. That's why this is what I want you to do. Take a look at that. Think about that. Does that make sense? Does it feel right? Again, this is going to be a couple 100 hours of work for me, so I need to hear from you. If you don't like this, tell me. But I do have some more. Over the last 7 or 10 days, I've been sketching out lots of topics, and I didn't know where to put all of them. So guess what? There's a 5th section called bonus, right? One of the videos I know I'm going to do is why being a millionaire is the wrong goal, right? So there's just a lot of content that I want to include that I didn't know where to include in this 4-step process, so I created a catch-all and called a bonus. So again, do me a favor, please watch this and please leave comments on your feedback. Again, think about being someone just starting out. I believe if they learn their market, they're given tools and how you do it and all of that, understand the math behind the formulas and then tie those 2 together, outstanding. Leverage and talk about the team and then ultimately close with the whys and goals, I think is a great course. But I could be wrong. Let me know what you think and have a great day.